Welcome to the fourth in a series of 5 videos for principals and members of school executives to learn about QuickSmart. In the previous video, you'll remember that I talked about what a QuickSmart lesson would look like in your school. The QuickSmart program involves a QuickSmart instructor, trained or in training, working with 2 students for 30-minute sessions offered 3 times a week. An instructor can be a principal, a member of the school executive, a teacher, or a teacher assistant. QuickSmart instructors require a quiet area where resources can be housed and the lessons can be formed without undue distractions. The recommended minimum number of QuickSmart students in a school is usually 12. That's 6 pairs, sometimes less for very small schools. The reason for this number is that it offers the best chance to be able to interpret the data from the statistics. The analysis of smaller numbers of students below this is more susceptible to the impact of an individual score. While it is not a competition, in a number of schools, especially those that have made the support of at-risk students one of their priority areas, have enrolled in excess of 80 students, that's over 40 pairs, a year into the program. Before I start with some specific details, I emphasise that QuickSmart is not designed to be a program that is just purchased off the shelf. The success rate for off-the-shelf products in this area is poor. Also, to maintain the integrity of the program, QuickSmart instructors need to embrace high-impact teaching approaches and ideas, and this requires professional mentoring, discussion, time, and deliberate practice. In this video, I address some of the aspects that you need to consider to get QuickSmart started in your school. Getting started in your school requires some initial planning, particularly around financial matters and staff allocation. I will consider funding first. There are initial modest fees for QuickSmart implementation, professional learning sessions in the first year and resources. These are based on cost recovery basis for SIMA. Attendance at the professional learning program is critical for staff expected to teach the program. Here they learn about and practice the best way to deliver the program in your school that will help ensure strong effect sizes. In the first year, this involves 3 workshops of 2 days, at the beginning, midway and towards the end of the year. These workshops have a strong theoretical perspective elaborated through practical activities and practical advice. Those who should attend include the QuickSmart coordinator and the staff who teach the program, and this might be principals, school executives, teacher or teacher aides. The number who can attend is limited to 5 persons from a school, but a larger group may be accommodated on request depending on the size of the venue. We endeavour to conduct the professional learning in your area if there are a number of local schools involved in QuickSmart. Completion of the training results in qualified teachers receiving acknowledgement linked to Australian professional standards for teachers, and for teacher assistants, they receive certification linked to TAFE competencies. Funds need to be available for participants' morning tea and lunch and release times. It is worth noting that these professional learning sessions have received wide acclaim across Australia by reviewers and participants. In the second year, there are 3 one-day workshops available to extend further QuickSmart teacher skills and knowledge base. In the third year, there is a 1-day workshop available. These workshops offered in years 2 and 3 also come with documentation linked to professional standards or TAFE competencies. I now want to turn to the minimum resources required. There needs to be a room or area appropriate for QuickSmart use and a PC computer. There are QuickSmart resources provided both in paper and electronic form, and there's a kit. This feature helps lessen the QuickSmart program's setup time for school staff. Finally, there will be a need to have some funds allocated for general stationery, photocopying and student folders. Instruction time for QuickSmart staff involves program setup, particularly in the first year, student pre-testing, instruction for 30 weeks at 3 sessions of 30 minutes a week for 2 students, and program wind down at the end of the year, including post-testing. Schools also provide some instruction, preparation and administrative time for QuickSmart instructors. And in some schools, QuickSmart coordinators receive release time to oversee the program and to support QuickSmart instructors. Optional features found in many QuickSmart schools include parent involvement in knowing about and seeing the program in action, and in helping other teachers in the school become aware of QuickSmart, its techniques, approaches and theory. Quantitative and qualitative data are gathered with pre and post performance of QuickSmart students and possibly a few comparison students. Schools will receive a summary of their student data within a month or two, depending on when the data are submitted and its proximity to Christmas. In terms of the staff involved, we recommend that the principal or deputy principal or assistant principal take overall responsibility of the program in a school, and a trained teacher with a commitment to improving the life chances of at-risk students be identified as a QuickSmart coordinator. As a QuickSmart coordinator, they manage implementation of QuickSmart at the site level, help identify target and comparison students, administer pre and post program assessments to QuickSmart and comparison students, organise student-instructor timetables, in collaboration with instructors, organise QuickSmart space, program resources and computer, and individual student folders. They also mentor where needed QuickSmart instructors by identifying starting points for students, providing guidance to instructors in planning lessons, and tracking student progress when needed. And they should coordinate mid-year program progress report and the end-of-year program report, which is presented in a short presentation at the second and third workshops. In many schools, the QuickSmart coordinator is allocated a single pair of students. For QuickSmart instructors, they're expected to learn to understand the QuickSmart program and its philosophy, provide quality tuition and support to students, form productive working relationships in the setting of small class instruction with pairs of students. They have to have a commitment to supporting low achieving students. We want them to believe that they can make a difference despite the student's history of learning failure. And in doing that, they establish a supportive learning environment focused on student successes and improvements in basic skills. Obviously, they would need security clearance to work with students. And they accept the challenge of QuickSmart and embrace the professional learning that's associated with it. In the fifth and last video session, I talk about the important role that the principal and school executives play in the successful implementation of QuickSmart.